Welcome, college baseball fans, to a special bonus show. It is the ACC All-Star Selection Show from College Baseball Central. I'm being joined by Nick. Micah will be joining us shortly. He's having some technical issues. Unfortunately, Jake will not be joining us. And then the rest of the team, we have no idea what they're up to. But we've got a really special, fun-packed show. Just like in MLB, we have all-star festivities in the midseason. There's nothing like that in college baseball, so we decided to kind of jump on that in the middle of the ACC slates. Nick, how are you doing?
Great, man. I had a lot of fun doing this. This was a really cool activity to keep track of all the players so far this season, and then kind of going back and look. I see the stats all the time because of those weekly stats I post. So to really deep dive into them a little bit more instead of just listing guys 1 through 10 based on each category. This was a lot of fun, and you had to make kind of some tough decisions because this league is so good in terms of hitting, and it was a deep pool to choose from. But I'm doing great. I can't wait to get started on this. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah, I honestly am not super concerned if anyone's watching because it's just going to be kind of fun just to kind of go through what we talked about. And if people are enjoying the content, that's a bonus. I'm going to have a good time either way. But yeah, there will certainly be some snubs. There just has to be because, as Nick, you just said, there are some really, really good hitters, and there's going to be guys that don't make our teams because we had to have a limit. And also, it's good to have snubs because then it gives us something to talk about. There's certainly, I feel, a lot more snubs on the hitting side than there are necessarily on the pitching side. But yeah, so we're going to jump into it. I'm going to pull up our slide here. So the first thing, this is not a real game, but we got to have somewhere to play, right? Where do you think we would play an ACC All-Star game, Nick? If I asked Micah about it, and he said, "Oh, we could do Georgia Tech," but I was like, "No, it's got to be a neutral site. Where would it be?"
I would have to assume Charlotte or Durham.
Well, we're doing Durham, baby. Durham, the Durham Bulls Athletic Park. I love it. Basically, when Noah was making the thumbnail for me, he said, "Hey, where is this metaphorical or theoretical game happening?" I said either Charlotte or Durham. He chose Durham, so that's where we're going. And I think that'd be kind of cool. You have the ACC championship at the end of the season in Charlotte. You have a little All-Star game. Yeah. Yeah, we just got a word FedEx Field in the comments. I guess Noah or somebody's in the comments. FedEx Field would be a terrible place to have a baseball game. It's a terrible place to have a football game.
Unless you want the sewer falling on you.
Yeah. So the other thing we need with our All-Star game is uniforms. And I would have loved to have had Jake on to explain what his uniform technique. We have Derek Jeter from MLB The Show modeling our Atlantic jerseys for the All-Star game. And looks great. I'm not sure what's going on there because if you look at the coastal one here, we got a lot of Carolina blue in there, which is interesting. We got Micah joining us. Micah, my guy. I just introduced what we're doing. We have the game, our theoretical game at the Durham Bulls Athletic Park, neutral site. I'm just showing off the unis that Jake developed. Unfortunately, Jake's not here to explain his reasoning for the color schemes. But they look a lot better than the basic ones I did. Michael, how you doing?
Well, those look like the Florida State basketball jerseys they wear sometimes, Monty. Those like really bright blue.
That's what it is. Thank you. Thank you.
So I think it's funny. I mean, it looks good. I actually kind of like them. I mean, I don't think it's ACC vibes per se, but I don't hate it.
That's the tricky thing.
The blue pinstripes are kind of sick. Like,
yeah, Mine were a little bit, the ones that I had designed that Jake was like, I'll do some, was like, I had white jerseys for, I had white jerseys for Coastal with blue pinstripes, the ACC blue, and then just a blue hat with ACC in white, and then the Atlantic was in grays with blue stuff. It was very, very basic. So this is a lot better. This is, the All-Star game, they're going to have some wild colors. But we also need managers or coaches, right? So I figured the coaches of each team would be the division winners from last year. Micah, do you remember who won the Coastal last year?
That was your our Virginia Cavaliers.
That means that
Brian O'Connor.
Brian O'Connor, yeah. But first, Tom Walter at Wake Forest. I got the order mixed up there. Tom Walter.
I got confused. I was like, what?
Yeah. Tom Walter would be on the Atlantic side, and then there's Coach O'Connor shaking somebody's hand. There's a disembodied hand there. But all right, so we've got that out of the way. The next big part of our All-Star festivities. What's a big thing everyone looks forward to the All-Star weekend at MLB, Nick?
Home run derby.
Boom.
Let's go.
Yeah. So I took our top 8 hitters. We've got all the hitters.
Oh my gosh. Hold on. Sorry, Monty. I know you're about to explain it, but I need to just be natural here. That Kurtz-Tibbs matchup is not a quarterfinal. Oh my, I know like numbers wise it is. I know you're not like cheating or anything, right? But oh my goodness, that is more mush-wash TV than me throwing LSU in Wake's regional in my bracketology.
Right? How awesome would this kind of an
awesome,
event?
dude.
Yeah, this event would just be absolutely awesome. By the way, everybody on this list, I hate to spoil it a little bit, but there is one member of this list that's not an All-Star.
Ooh, can I guess? I mean, can I guess? You don't tell me now, but can I just guess and then see if I'm right at the end of the show?
Yeah. Who is the one non-All-Star?
I'm gonna go bold here, and I'm gonna say Alec Makarevich. I think it's the
Nick,
state
do you
guy.
got a guess?
It's that or Blake Wright. I can see possibly.
I'm stuck between Didowick and Wright, but I think I'm gonna go Blake Wright.
If Didowick's not an All-Star, Monty, the show is not a real show. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, by the way, Micah,
every Virginia player was an All-Star.
I did send you your vote so you can see what you voted for. I had to type them out because the way the spreadsheet was. But yeah, honestly, it's interesting. I think Nick Kurtz or James Tibbs in that matchup. I think whoever wins that quarterfinal goes on to win the Derby. But this is a lot of power in there. But I think the best pure power hitters is going to be your Tibbs and your Kurtz and your DeMartini. I know Burris has 15 home runs, but he feels, a lot of the other guys feel like line drive kind of hitters that just happen to hit bombs. So, who do you think?
Is it a hot take to say that I feel like Drew Burris hits the home runs because he's just a natural hitter, or some of these guys just feel like you put them in you put Nick Kurtz in a home run, derby, right? Even Alex Makarevich, I feel more confident, like, hey man, it's batting practice, go nuts. Where I think Drew Burris just in game mode is just different. This might be the worst take of all time, and I'm sure Georgia Tech fans will come after me if they think I'm wrong. Well, I don't know. Just
imagine what kind of home runs Burris would hit if he was bigger, because he's only 5'8". Yeah. Like, he's not a big guy, and the power that he's packing at that size is incredible. Because he's Dustin Pedroia sized, and Pedroia had some power, but this is a different. That when Pedroia hit a home run, you could see. He reminds me a lot of Drew Gilbert, who was at Tennessee a couple years ago. But Tibbs and Kurtz, I think this would be Kurtz's home run derby to lose.
Yeah,
and he's kind of been doing a home run derby the last couple of days or last couple of games, right? He's been just what was it at 1.6 out of 7 at bats were home runs.
Yeah, what's crazy is Monty, if you don't do this a week, if we did this a week earlier, he's not even in this home run derby. That's crazy to think about.
Yeah. And Jack Winay very quietly in this list. Everyone else is like, oh yeah, of course all these guys hit these home runs. We see him hitting home runs all the time, but I feel like Jack Winay very quietly crept in onto this list, and he's had a great year. But I guess I don't know what it is, but it just seems like Jack Winay gets overlooked a little bit.
I could probably figure this out in like a minute, but Monty, if Nick didn't go off as he did this week, who got snubbed? Who was the name?
That's where it got tricky because there was like five guys with that were on 11. That was the next group because like all these guys on 12 hit home runs the other day, like Makarovich, Kurtz, Winay. They all hit home runs the other day.
Kurtz hit two.
Yeah,
that's even crazier.
Yeah, Kurtz may not have been on that. Yeah, Kurtz would have been the 8 seed had he not hit 2.
Wow.
So that's crazy. Pretty crazy. So, but Cam Leary was one of the first names I remember seeing on the 11 list. So Cam Leary might have been in there, but yeah, I'll share this graphic on Twitter after the show. I had a lot of fun doing this because I was like, oh, we got to have a home run derby discussion, right? So, all right, now we can get into the stuff, right? All right, here we go.
I want to preface real quick, Monty. If anyone's wondering, if you see me change hats throughout the show, I'm doing whoever's hitting is the hat I'm wearing. So you'll see me switch between Florida State and Miami. That way no one can say I'm a homer either way. Just making sure I preface that now. So in case you weren't running, or Miami is currently hitting. So
that's nice. All right, so we're going to start with the catcher here for the Atlantic Division. For those wondering, the votes took into account all of our writers. All of our ACC content team, there's 7 of us. Then we included national writers such as AJ, or national content guys such as AJ, our founder Noah, and our Pac-12 guy Mark, who apparently spent like 6 hours trying to research and make sure this was done well. So props to Mark. And then there was a fan vote that played a factor here. So we'll get into some of that as we get in. Do you guys have any guesses on who the Atlantic Division catcher is going to be?
I think it's going to be Nick's favorite player on this list, I should say.
Nick's favorite player. I mean, I'm thinking that it's Cozart.
Isn't that not your favorite player?
Yeah, he's my favorite. Yeah.
It is Jacob Cozart. Yes. All right. So he won the fan vote. And he also had he had 8 of our 11 votes for the CBC team. So he won the fan vote. Monster season. He's had a great year, and I think it was a pretty easy decision for most of us to make that choice. I imagine both you guys voted Cozart. I voted Cozart. Pretty cut and dry. And we do have bench players, so we're not going to spoil who came in second till a little bit later because there is a backup catcher.
Cool.
Our first baseman.
Oh, he made it.
Yes. I imagine if people had voted maybe before Sunday's game, it would not have been Nick Kurtz. I will say
Tuesday is what did it because I hadn't finished yet, and Tuesday pushed it over the line for me because I was 50-50 going in.
Yes, well, Micah went along with the fans and went with the underdog.
I did.
Micah, who did you vote for?
I voted for Mr. Wolf from Boston College.
Yes, Boston College, by the way, in case you all are wondering, any Boston College player involved in our fan polls won because Boston College Twitter, which I was not really aware of, kind of hijacked the polls and made sure their guys won. No other fan base did what they did. If you look at any of the polls that had Boston College players, there were like over 100 votes for each of those polls, and then the other ones that didn't have Boston College hitters was at like 40. So Kyle Wolf, he's not on the starting lineup, but we could see him down the line a little bit later. Every team is represented. That's important to note. All right, we're going to second base, Atlantic. All right, I know one of you guys had some concerns about a certain second baseman when we talked about the home run derby. if it's not Blake Wright, who is it?
I mean, do I say who I voted for, or do you want me to guess who I think
You can
everyone
absolutely
voted
say who you voted for, Micah.
for? Okay, I've been waiting all day to tell everyone who I voted for. I voted for Mr. Moreno. Show me Mr. Moreno.
Yep, it is Blake Wright.
Yeah.
It is Blake Wright. Vince Samini won the fan vote with 84%, because again, Boston College. But 8 people voted for Blake Wright. He was.
Is it? Go ahead, Monty. You're good.
Nobody was really close. What are your thoughts?
I just thought Esteban Moreno from Notre Dame deserved this spot because I just think he's more of a cog for that program than Blake Wright is for Clemson. You might say, oh, like, what are you talking about, Micah? Blake Wright's a huge part of Clemson. You're right, but that Clemson lineup is so deep, where Esteban Moreno is kind of the heart and soul of that lineup for Notre Dame. And so for me, I just saw it as, again, also, I preface this, I made sure that my ballot had every school represented. I know you said we have them all represented in the show, but the way I voted is I made sure that I put one player from every school because I thought that was fair, because also an all-star has to be kind of carries your team, right? Like it can't just be, oh, well, Blake Wright's really, really good, but, you know, I just liked his numbers. He's hitting 326. He's, you know, he gets on base a lot. He's pretty sound defensively. I don't know. I'm a little sad about it because it just makes me think that the name Clemson got Mr. Wright over the top here. But you can't go wrong with him. He is incredible. This is not a slander to Mr. Blake Wright, just more of sometimes I wish the lower schools got a little more love.
Pass act, Micah.
Thanks, Noah. I appreciate it.
He did say that about 5 minutes ago, but I figured it'd be better to share now.
Monty, who did I vote for second? Did I vote for Blake?
I would imagine so. Like I said, 8 of our 11, but I will double check.
The question is, did Cole Girard vote for every single Clemson player? I'm just kidding.
He voted for quite a few, and we will get into him. He made a mistake that he wanted to change today, but I did not let him. So I'll give him a little credit for wanting to change. But there is a mistake that he made that kept 2 certain guys from being unanimous when they should have been.
Ooh.
So we'll have to get into that. Let me get to Nick's votes here. All right, Nick, you voted for Blake Wright.
Okay.
So
boo, Nick, boo.
All right. Now in our voting, we did go to third base, but we're going to go to shortstop first, because just to make our way around the diamond. Shortstop, Atlantic. What are we feeling? This one's an interesting position. Micah, do you know who you voted for?
Yeah, I went, and this one I actually remember. So you even had to send me this. I went Merrick Houston. He was so good when Wake Forest was still struggling. So for me, I thought it was pretty clear that it should have been Merrick, for my vote at least.
And Nick?
I think I did the same. I voted. He was just, I mean, he already plays incredible defense, but his numbers in terms of comparing him to the rest of the shortstops, not only in the Atlantic, but the whole ACC, are just out of this world, so much better than the next closest guy. So I went with Merrick.
Do you guys think that's who it is?
I think that's who it is.
The way you said that, I feel like it might not be, but going into it,
yes, I think he's messing with us. I think you got to put Merrick.
It is Gavin Hill
of
Louisville. He got.
I like it. I do like that.
Yeah, he got 5 votes. Andrew Quafo won the fan vote with 32%. That Clemson name gets a little bit of recognition there. Obviously, Cole also voted for him for Quafo, but Gavin Keelan having a great season out there for Louisville. He gets the shortstop position in the Atlantic, the starting shortstop position. As we move along to third base here, third base for the Atlantic Division.
Can we talk about real quick, Monty, how great his slugging percentage was? Like that was the big thing that I almost didn't vote. I voted for Merrick purely because like I just remember noticing him more. But Gavin's slugging percentage was unreal. It was like 675 or something when I looked, and I was like, I didn't realize how much of a piece of that lineup he really was for Louisville. So I really do like the pick though. Not my pick,
Yeah.
but I like.
Yeah, 653. So he's one of the. I think that is the highest among shortstops in the conference.
Yeah, and his OPS is in 1,000, so
Yeah.
he's pretty good.
Yeah. So moving along to third base, this is another really tough one. We might have some snubs here on both sides. First base and third base were really, really tough, I think. Nick, who was your third base choice? Do you remember?
I believe it was AMAC.
You went AMAC. Yep. Yes. And we know he's going to be at Durham because he's got to do the home run derby, right? All right, Micah, who'd you go with?
I went with the guy who struggled the most at the one Florida State game I went to, but I went Cam Smith.
They gave him 3 errors in that game, if I recall.
Yeah, and I will say the third one was kind of just like throwing it into the sun, and technically I guess it's a throwing error, but no one could really see it. So, but yes. But, he is hitting 400 after all.
I will tell you guys right now, Nick Wang won the fan vote. But it doesn't matter. It's Cam Smith. There was some great choices, again, at third base and first base that it makes it really, really tough. So we've got our infield here. It's a really good infield. Moving right along, we're going to go to left field. Which it just worked out that the votes worked out in a way that I actually got a left fielder, a center fielder, and a right fielder. This one kind of surprised me. 7 people voted for this person out of our 11. We didn't have a fan vote for the outfield because there's too many outfield options, so we didn't have a fan vote. But if we did, this person would have won the fan vote. And I say that because he's a Boston College outfielder.
My man, Cam Leary, most slept
on
player in the
Leary.
ACC.
Yep, Cam Leary is your left fielder, and I know he would have won the fan vote because Boston College Twitter already. I mean, Wang, Samini, and Wolf all got 80% of the votes in the fan votes in their polls. So I think it's safe to say if I had done an outfield poll, Leary would have done the same. So fantastic for him. Atlantic good. Center fielder. Yep, center fielder. What are you thinking?
I think this one is Nick's actual favorite player, the one he has the biggest crush on of anyone on this All-Star lineup.
It might be him, but I didn't vote for him, and I considered it.
Oh, interesting. Micah.
This is what? You didn't vote him?
No, I did not.
Cam Cannarella. Oh my! And suddenly we're hearing some controversy, some stunning development here. Let's take a look.
Who did I vote for? I forgot. I know it wasn't.
I would have bet my house that Nick voted Cam Cannarella. I would have bet my entire life savings that he did that. You
voted Leary, Winay, and a certain player that we're about to mention.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
In right field.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
How many? Okay, wait. How many?
I can't help you there.
How many people voted for Cannarella?
Shockingly, only 7 of the of 10. So
yeah,
3 people that didn't, and you were one of the 3.
I know. I feel so bad. Like that.
Besides, come get you.
Besides, like me juggling between Nick Kurtz and Garrett Pennington, Cam Cannarella, I struggled with a lot. I wanted to, but I couldn't pull the trigger.
Wow.
Now, our next All-Star should probably be the team captain, based on the fact that he should be the only the first unanimous choice, but somebody did not vote for him. He's probably the front runner for Player of the Year right now. He's the RBI leader. Micah. Yep, Micah's doing the Seminole chop. It is Mr. James Tibbs. There he is up there on the screen playing right now.
He's so good, there's 3 of them.
Yes. There are 2 other James Tibbs out there that, could be out there just lurking.
He's just collecting shadows. The James Tibbs Infinity Stones.
Yeah, ready to drive in some runs. So
I was just going to ask, am I the only one who voted for Jack Winay in the outfield?
No, you are not.
Okay.
James Tibbs James Tibbs. He got 9 of the 10 votes on our writing team. Cole apparently didn't vote for him. So yeah, and I messaged him. I said, "You hate Florida State?" He goes, "No, I was probably in a rush. Can I change it?" I said, "No. They're comfortably in. I'm not letting you change it."
Yeah, okay. That's the. I was wondering where these unanimouses would come from, but I completely based on you saying 9 out of 10 right there, so that makes sense.
Yeah. All right, the DH is unanimous. I just messed that up because I've got my notes wrong. He is not unanimous, but he did win the fan vote. I believe Micah voted for him. We've got a second Boston College Eagle in the starting lineup. It's Patrick Roche.
Yeah.
Obviously, you could argue Marco Dingus. You could argue Zion Rose. There's some great players.
I think Zion Rose may have gotten it if he was in the lineup more earlier in the year.
Right, or just every day. Yeah. I will say,
I guess more consistently.
I will say, our fearless leader Noah found a little bit of a loophole. I don't know if you guys noticed. The only position that had an other option was the DH, and he wrote in Garrett Pennington, who is not a DH. But he found a loophole so that he could vote for both, I think, Kurtz and
that makes sense why he's the guy that founded College Baseball Central. He just gets it.
Yep, he's like, "Oh man, I don't know who to vote for." He goes, "Oh, I could." He texts me. He's like, "I'm assuming I could write anyone in." I'm like, "I don't know what he's doing here," and I thought it was going to be a joke, but it was not. It was a very well done loophole. So, Patrick Roche is your team. How do you feel about this starting lineup for the Atlantic?
I mean, I'm going to say it out loud, Monty, because I haven't even seen what we have for the Coastal yet. I don't know how this team how the Coastal team can stack up to this one. This lineup is just, I mean, obviously it's an all-star game, right? So obviously everyone's going to be a hitter. But I mean, is there a single person in this lineup right here that you even consider like a potential letdown from the lineup? I mean, good gracious. I'm trying to like in my head imagine how I would do the order, like the lineup.
Yeah, I think that might be
1 through 9.
Yeah, I think that might be something fun to kind of make a graphic of over the next couple of days. Give you guys a chance to give me your lineups, and then I can make a graphic to do our lineups on how we would if we were the manager. Nick, what are your thoughts? We're going to get into the bench here in a second.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to bring up is that this starting lineup is so stacked that there were certain positions out on the field where it's like, dang, you could put this guy here and really no one would blink an eye. Like, I think if people put Garrett at first, no one would blink an eye. I think if people put like Merrick at shortstop, people wouldn't blink an eye. You know, I mean, it's just so stacked all around. I mean, wow. I kind of regret not voting for my boy Cam, but I just thought Jack Winay was such a quiet underdog for this Wake team, and you know he's up there in home runs and RBIs. He's been the most consistent guy in that lineup all year, like more consistent than Kurtz, more consistent than Merrick. He's been healthy, so that was my reason. But man, this is. I want to see this happen. Like I want to see this All-Star game. This is so cool.
Is it safe to say your biggest disappointment is no Winay and Micah's biggest disappointment is no Estevan Moreno?
No, I would say my biggest disappointment is no Merrick.
No Merrick is your biggest disappointment?
Yeah,
okay.
Because I can live with like Jack Winay being out and putting Cam in. I think if I had to pick someone who got snubbed, I think it was Merrick.
Okay. We'll talk about snubs after we do the bench. So we need a backup catcher, right? The next highest amount of votes. He was also second in the fan vote. Clemson's Jimmy Obertop. Awesome guy. Awesome player. Draws a ton of walks. He's hit a couple home runs here recently. Having a great year. He makes the All-Star team as a reserve. That brings us to our next guy. Garrett Pennington, he makes the team, and a big part of what that tiebreaker was is I took that vote that Noah had done. I added it in. I said Garrett Pennington had 2 votes in the main first base, and he got a third one there. I was like, he's on the team. Our next guy making the team, Micah. Estevan Moreno. He does make the team. You were upset, and no reason to be disappointed. I had you covered.
Thank you, Monty.
All right. Nick, I was really hoping you would have said that your biggest disappointment would have been Jack Winay over Merrick Houston, because Alec Makarovich and Jack Winay are your all-stars. Yeah, I thought Jack Winay was coming next when I clicked it, but you're also
well, I did vote for Alec as well, so there you go.
So there are your all-stars. Merrick Houston does not make it. Vince Samini, Nick Wang, they don't make it. I'm sure I'm going to take some flack from Boston College Twitter. Kyle Wolf doesn't make it. There's some notable players missing here. Again, we have a limit. Otherwise, everyone would be an all-star. The same thing happens at the MLB level. But I think the biggest shortstop, you could argue, I think Andrew Cuefo. I think you could argue Merrick Houston. Third base, I think it really was, Adam Tellier. He's had a fantastic year as somebody you could, might be a snub.
I will say, I think I might be on Nick's train now of Merrick being a snub, because he didn't even make it. So yeah. I got all upset about
he's
Estevan
leading
Moreno.
Shortstops and about everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So so you guys think Merrick Houston's our biggest snub here?
I think so. Yeah.
Plus
he eats at Dioli, so by rule that makes him an all-star.
That makes him an all-star.
I think maybe I don't know. I'm trying to go in the other voters' heads. I want to say maybe he's been unhealthy for part of the season. So I guess that played a role where maybe Gavin was, healthy all year, hasn't missed a game maybe. I don't know, but Merrick's missed some time. But even with that missed time, he's still killing the ball.
Yeah, let me look here. He only got 2 votes. You guys were the only 2.
Wow. Look at us, Micah.
Yep. Well, Andrew Cuefo got 3.
And
then Keelan got the other 5. And then the fan vote, Mark did not vote Houston.
Come on now, Mark. What are we doing here?
Yeah. But again, Mark did his research, okay? He told me he spent hours, and I was like, okay, you didn't need to do all that when I asked for help, but I appreciate it.
Mark hasn't watched a lot of good baseball in the Pac-12 this year, so he just didn't understand how good Merrick Houston was. He tried to put it in Pac-12 standards.
Well, be careful now. He might not help us in the future if we abuse him too much.
Mark, Mark, I know you know baseball. I'm just giving you a hard time because when I was doing the bracketology, I had no idea what to do with the Pac-12. So it made me stress out because I'm not going to lie, I don't stay up till 1 a.m. to watch RPI 100 baseball very often. So,
all right, we're going to move along here quick to the Coastal. I wanted to get all the hitters out of the way before we got into the pitchers. So here are your Coastal Division All-Stars at catcher. This was an interesting one, but a lot of people voted. He won the fan vote. We did not have Boston College hijacking the Coastal polls, so we've got some good fan interactions there. Micah, who do you think the catcher is?
Luke Stevenson.
Nick, is that who you voted for?
I think so. I don't remember.
It is Luke Stevenson.
It was Luke. Yes, I voted for Luke.
Okay, and he had 6 of the 10 votes from our team, and he won 45% of the fan vote. So fantastic year for the freshman. He's hitting 297. He's looking fantastic. The average batting average isn't the most important thing. He's been fantastic behind the plate as a freshman. Not a lot of true freshmen get that opportunity right from the jump, and he has been really, really good. 9 home runs, 34 RBIs. He's got an OPS of 1.025, having a fantastic year for this Carolina team that's in first place in the Coastal Division. So looking good. Moving along to first base. This is where we're going to have some issues. Oh, I thought because we had this scheduled during the Miami game that we might have Canes, Cats, Heat miss this show, but he has shown up in the comments just in time for me to reveal first base. Micah, I know who you voted for. Nick, who did you vote for first base? There were three really stellar options.
Canes Cats just joined the chat. Well, that's your announcement time, Monty. As you finish that statement, Florida State just took a 5 lead in the 7th on a 2-run bomb from Mr. Williams. So
yeah,
oh man,
I don't remember who I voted for first.
All right,
you better have voted for the Chevy man himself.
Oh, I think I did. Yeah, now that you mention it, I did.
It is Henry Ford,
Let's go.
The freshman. Henry Ford received 6. He did not win the fan vote, and we'll talk about who won the fan vote in a little bit because the fan vote made the bench. So we'll talk about him in a second. But yeah, 3 really good options there. Only 2 are going to make the team. So there's an automatic snub right there with the first base. I know first base sounded like the position that people needed to sleep on for both teams because you had Kurtz and Hinderleiter and Pennington and Wolf on the Atlantic, and then you had 3 to 4 really good options here. So first base is tough, and that doesn't even consider counting somebody like Luke Cantwell at Pitt. So moving along to second base, this person is a leadoff hitter for one of the top teams in the country. He got 38% of the fan vote. He got 5 of our votes, so he won both our vote and the fan vote. Nick, who you thinking? Who you got?
I don't remember.
Nick, I'll give you another hint. He's a Virginia Cavalier. Everyone loves him.
He is not. He is not.
I know he's second not. Base. I want him. I know. Oh, wait. Where are you at right now?
Second base.
Well, yeah. Why couldn't it be a Virginia Cavalier then?
Because it's.
Oh, it's like never mind. The person I'm thinking of doesn't lead off. Never mind. I'm sorry.
Well, and then I thought you might have gotten confused with Virginia Tech because Christian Martin was an option.
Zach Morris got it, huh?
Yep.
Can you tell
my guy?
I will point out, I don't hate this. Dorian Gonzalez has had a great season. We'll see if he makes the bench, but yeah, this isn't a terrible shout there.
I really don't remember who I voted for in the Coastal, so you're gonna have to tell me, Monty.
Okay, no worries. I've got your. I'll make sure to go to your.
I think it was Zach.
You voted for.
Salty that it should have.
Yep, you did.
It should have been Godbout. I'm just saying. This is robbery.
Yeah, robbery. So yeah, moving along to shortstop. Now, Micah, would you like to talk about a leadoff guy who plays for the Virginia Cavaliers?
Is it this guy that probably is going to go in the first round of the Major League Baseball? Oh, I just realized that my infield really was almost all Virginia Cavaliers. Yikes. I didn't even realize that when I was doing it. But yes, Mr. Griffo Farrell.
Yeah, Griffo Farrell, he won the vote. The shortstop position, there's some options there, but Mark also said he voted Zach in the comments here. But yeah, Griffo Farrell, he is the shortstop. Canes Cats, he just said that Antonio Jimenez with his 9 errors as a part-time shortstop would be a worthy candidate. I know he's been sharing the spot with JD Urso, who is
did Wallace Clark get any votes by chance, Monty?
Oh, what do you think? Jake voted, so he got 1 vote.
Did he vote Wallace Clark?
He did vote Wallace Clark. By the way, Griffo Farrell for the non-Boston college had some of the highest numbers in the fan vote. He had 56% of the vote.
I was wondering if he was actually going to do it, Monty, because there's 2 shortstops, both Clay Grady from Virginia Tech and Wilkerson from North Carolina that I thought were honestly right. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I went with the name and being obviously a bit of a Virginia homer. I went with Griff. I almost went with Grady, but I'm actually kind of shocked that he actually went Wallace Clark because his numbers are not really anywhere close to the other 3.
No, and what's interesting, Grady and Wilkerson are really underrated because they hit at the bottom of the lineups. But they're both really good, but I think they're underrated because of where they hit in the lineup. But I think that's almost more impressive at times because you're able to turn the lineup over and make people pay. But yeah, third base, another tough one, or I thought it was going to be tougher than it was. It ended up being a pretty landslide decision for people here at third base. The ACC's current leading hitter and the best mustache in college baseball. He's got a degree from an Ivy League school. It's Ben Miller. He's having a fantastic season. He's hitting .452 with 15 doubles, a triple, 9 home runs, a 1.297 OPS. Just having a monster season, making the most of his grad transfer eligibility for Duke. Him and Zach Morris at the top of the lineup in front of their hitters, setting the table.
Yeah, I originally had selected in this. I selected Daniel Cuvée from Miami at first, and then I went and looked at some of the numbers. I'll be the first one to admit that I have been sleeping on Ben Miller a lot. So, looking at his numbers, he's definitely worthy. I just wanted to put out there that I originally had Cuvée.
Yes. Well, what's also interesting is there was another third baseman who's put up monster numbers this year and didn't get a vote, and his name is Carson DiMartini.
His average is so low right now, though. He's under 300, and it was hard for me to justify it. I almost did it, but when you got a third baseman hitting 452 and then you're hitting 291, it's kind of hard to. And Cuvé's hitting 372, so he's got a pretty solid OPS. His OPS is almost up there with Ben Miller and Cuvée, but
I'll tell you this: Alec Makarovich is hitting 350. He's hitting almost 60 points higher than DiMartini. He has a lower on base percentage than DiMartini.
Yeah, that's definitely fair.
Throwing it out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, Cuvée was got some votes, but we'll talk more about that third base position. Very, very good. Again, the hitting is stacked. But again, we're moving to left field, and again, just like with the Atlantic, it worked out perfectly where I got a left fielder, a right fielder, and a center fielder. Left fielder, I think it's a pretty easy decision for a lot of people, especially with the way he's hit recently. He's really added some power to his game. Nick, do you remember who you voted for?
No, I don't remember my outfielders.
All right. I will tell you if you voted for this outfielder. You did vote for this outfielder. So,
okay.
Micah, do you know who I'm talking about? Did you vote for this person?
I'm a little confused. You said we're in left field, right?
Left field.
So then, no, I did not vote for a single left fielder.
Well, it is Casey Cook.
Casey Cook.
Casey Cook of North Carolina. He's having a great season. Vance Honeycutt is not having the best season. He's hitting a lot of bombs, but he's striking out a lot. He's still, I don't think, quite back to his 2022 self. But yeah, moving on to center field.
I think it's another heel, right?
Nope, this is a unanimous pick here.
With
all 10 people voted for this person. We are in center field. This is our
it's our home run king himself.
Yep, it is our first unanimous guy. It is the freshman Drew Burress. He is starting in center field. He's the number 1 seed for our home run derby. Fantastic season for him. Hopefully he stays in the ACC for the foreseeable future. And our right fielder, this one was a bit of a surprise for me because it ultimately became a choice between him and his teammate, I think. And this is who got it. It's a Virginia Cavalier again. Micah, you obviously voted for him. Nick, did you? Let me see if you voted for him. I think you did.
I voted for another heel, another Tar Heel.
Nope.
No, I didn't. Who did I vote for?
You voted for a Hokie. Chris Cannizzaro.
No, I did. That's right.
Right field, Casey Sauke.
I did
So-
vote for a Hokie though in my outfield though. I went
You
two
did,
center
you
fielders
did.
in their form.
Ben, you voted Ben Watson. You both voted for Hokie outfielders, just different ones. How do you think this lineup stacks up against the Atlantic?
I think the Atlantic's a better lineup. I'm a Coastal homer, but I think the Atlantic lineup is better. It pains me to
Well,
say
we still
that
gotta do
being
the
3
DH,
Virginia
right?
Cavaliers in this lineup, but I will say I do think this team might be more sound defensively though.
Yeah, I will say, by the way, Canes Cats Heat asked if Cuvée was in the home run derby. I did not end up choosing players based necessarily on their power numbers. I based it on who had the top 8 who was top 8 in the home runs. So he did not make it.
Hey, Canes Cat, just so you know, Cuvée. So Monty, just so you know, Cuvée is coming up to bat right now with a runner on. With now the Canes down 1. I promise you, he's going to homer because he heard you say that.
Yeah, I
Calling it
mean,
right now.
he should prove me wrong.
What about DH?
DH, you're right. Oh man, and this is bad because he's also unanimous.
He's insane.
Yeah, Alberto Osuna is your DH, having a huge bounce back year. He won the fan vote with let me see, 61% of the fan vote. All 10 of us voted for him. Easy peasy decision. Noah didn't even try to write anybody in.
I almost considered Justin Fogel here until I realized I could find some pit pitcher that I really like to vote for. Just because I wanted to try.
Oh, that's right. You needed to have
represented. But yeah, this was a pretty clear for Osuna.
Mark is taking credit. We basically threw out everybody else's votes.
No wonder I think this Atlantic team's better because Mark voted for the Coastal team. Entirely correct.
No, it's interesting. I see what you mean, though. It'll be interesting to see when we get our graphics together for these to compare them to each other and get that discussion going.
I do think this lineup's a little bit easier to stack up, like how I want to place them in terms of a lineup order.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. I agree. It is easier.
Like you kind of know who your leadoff guy is probably going to be. You probably know who your 2 guys are going to be. You can, I just need a lot more flexibility with this one. Or not flexibility, excuse me, a lot more consistency and kind of even where they sit in their own lineups.
There's just so much power in the Atlantic. You don't know, like you put someone, like if you put, I don't know.
I will say all these guys know how to put the ball in play.
If you put Gavin in the 9 hole, it's just like, that's really, really good. He's such a good player. And he's going to be in the 9 hole probably in the Atlantic.
Yeah. So your guys' homework is going to be to give me a lineup. I'm going to make sure you guys have the rosters so you guys can do a lineup, and then I'll try to make a graphic for all of us to see how we would stack up our
That'll
lineups.
Be fun.
Yeah.
Monty's the hardest working guy in college baseball. That's what I'm
Well, as Micah says that as he drives halfway across the country and doesn't sleep. So moving along to the bench, we got Henry Cook for Virginia Tech. He's having a great year. There was a lot of concern, especially from Jake when Brody Donay transferred to Florida. They haven't missed a beat. They actually will play 3 catchers in a lineup sometimes. Obviously not all at catcher. That's impossible. But Ebel will play first, McCann will DH, and then Cook has been their guy behind the plate. He's been fantastic, well-deserved. He was second in the fan vote. He got some votes from us. Fantastic to see him get that representation. I thought Jacob Ferencz got a little overlooked, but he had a slow start and wasn't playing all the time. Ethan Anderson was kind of in his way. Next up, we have the man, the myth, the legend, Parks Harbor, who split the vote with Henry Ford and Jason Torres. Unfortunately, Jason Torres is somebody who should be an all-star, and Canes Cats Heat's going to go crazy right now because I think that might be his biggest snub is that we left off Jason Torres. I have no problem putting Jason Torres in here, but with Henry Ford and Parks Harbor, it was just such a tough call. Next up, I did put in Carson DiMartini. I wanted to make sure Virginia Tech got represented. They've been one of the best teams in the conference so far. Carson DiMartini makes the team. Okay. Canes Cats Heat didn't make me feel too bad about Jason Torres, but my dog is complaining about it. So, but we're moving along to our next one. It is Daniel Cuvée. So he makes the team as a third baseman. I'm going to yell at my dog here in a second. And then lastly, AJ Grazia.
There we go.
Were you concerned he wasn't going to make the
AJ
team?
Grazia from Duke UVA. Nice. I didn't realize he transferred to UVA, Monty. Let's go.
Oh, I didn't see that. No, yeah.
Can't wait to see him in his UVA uniform tomorrow in Louisville. I just love how you still have Duke on there, and then you still have UVA next to it.
What's even better is Mark knows which of my dogs is barking right now. That's even better because one of them is and one of them's not. But yep. So that's our team. What do you guys feel about snubs?
I didn't vote for AJ in anything, right?
I will check who you.
I think I highly considered him in something.
Yeah, you voted because you voted. Remember, Cook, Burris, and Cannizaro.
That's right. Okay, I think I debated very hard with AJ.
Yeah, he got enough votes to make the team. I think that. I was deciding. He actually tied in votes with Honeycutt, and I was like, I don't know if Honeycutt. I was like, let's add another Duke player.
Yeah. They already got 3 in the, or no, 2. Yeah, 3 in the starting lineup. So,
yep. So, all right. Those are our lineups. Those not our lineups, but those are our positional players. So we're moving along to pitchers now. All right, we're starting with the Atlantic again. The starting pitchers. Trying to remember the order so I don't mix this up here. But this pitcher, I don't think it's a surprise for anybody. I think he's.
Oh, wait, sorry. Are we on Atlantic or
Atlantic?
Okay,
Atlantic.
Okay, thank you.
We went back to Atlantic. So obviously, I think they've probably got the 2 front runners for ACC Pitcher of the Year. Chase Burns, Wake Forest. He was a unanimous pick. Pretty easy selection by all 10 of us. I have a feeling the fan vote, if it didn't get hijacked by Boston College fans, also would have been Chase Burns. The second pitcher should have been a unanimous choice, but Cole hates Florida State.
Oh my God!
And Jamie Arnold.
Come on, Cole.
Jamie Arnold is only got 9 votes.
Jamie Arnold to you, Cole.
Yeah, I said I was like, do you hate Florida State? He's like, I do, but I didn't necessarily take that into factor in my voting. I'm like, well, you left off the nation's RBI leader in James Tibbs and the front runner for the ACC Pitcher of the Year at this moment. So,
oh my God.
Now
I don't
feel, the best part is,
I don't feel as bad as for not voting for Cam Cannarella in center field.
The best part to me, Monty, is the fact that, like, you know, with him being a Clemson guy, right? You could have argued, well, okay, maybe when he saw him in person against Florida State and pitch well. Jamie Arnold was incredible that game against Clemson.
Yeah, and Florida State bullpen let him down.
Yeah.
So tough one. I will say I only let people vote for 3 starting pitchers, but 4 make the team.
Oh, okay. I like that. That's a nice little. I like that, Mon. Look, Monty's pulling out some things he didn't tell us. I like that.
I feel like the guy that I voted for is still not going to be on it.
Okay, who'd you vote for?
I am confident now, Monty, that all 3 of my guys are on it. If we got 4, because the other guy that I voted for, because I have these other 2, if the guy I voted for is not on this list, I'm rioting in the streets.
He's the reigning ACC Pitcher of the Week. It's Aiden Kanak of Clemson.
I'm getting a little nervous now, Monty. I'm getting a little nervous.
It's Cam Leiter.
Yep, I'm riding. I'm gonna sit behind home plate.
Can I guess who it is? Evan Webster.
I'm gonna be sitting behind home plate tomorrow, Monty, with the sign that says College Baseball Central hates Louisville. That's what I'm gonna do.
I will point out Evan Webster only got, I think, 2 votes, and it was you and I.
Man.
I voted for him.
Am I the only one who voted for Sam Highfill?
No, Sam Highfill had a couple of votes as well.
Okay, cool. That was my 3rd guy.
Yep. So that's our starting 4. Again, we don't care if players are injured right now because this is a theoretical game, so they can play in our heads.
So Evan Webster is going to be my taxi guy for Cam Leiter, who's out. Perfect.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Feel better.
Yeah, it's our fantasy. We can do what we want. All right, we're gonna go right into relief, guys. Again, I let you guys choose 3, but we're taking 5.
Ooh, going 5 here. Bold.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
I
So
know
this
one that I
guy,
voted
so the Atlantic was a little bit more crazy with the relievers than the Coastal was, and you'll see why when we get to the Coastal. But
I will
these
say one of my votes, Monty, is brutal because he just made an appearance in tonight's game and didn't record an out. So
was it Brendan Oxford?
it was not.
Okay, so the other guy didn't make this team. It was Andrew Armstrong.
It was.
Yep. So Brendan Oxford, he is the Florida State closer. He made it with 5 votes. And then a personal favorite of the show and Nick's, the dude, Jacob Duden, is also received the most votes. So him and Oxford received the most votes as a reliever for the Atlantic.
Wow.
And now the next 3 guys, they all tied with the next amount of votes. And that's kind of why I made the decision to go 5 deep. We've got Tucker Biven of Louisville. You might be surprised to see a Louisville reliever on here, but he makes it. Evan Webster doesn't. Hopefully that's some sort of comfort to you, Micah. It's not.
I was getting nervous that I didn't vote for a single relief pitcher that was on this list, but I did have Tucker, so that makes me feel better.
This one's a little bit of a this, I guess, is going to be a long reliever swingman because he's moved into a Friday night role for Clemson. Matthew Marshall was the reliever there. And then our last one, he's currently injured, but he was absolutely nails until he got hurt, and that is Boston College's Tyler Mudd.
Wow.
That's a good one. I'm not gonna lie, because he got hurt, I kind of just, and like, for example, Monty, I actually voted Middlestat or Malstat, I guess I should say, not Middlestat.
Yep, he got a couple of votes
from Clemson over Marshall, not because I thought he was that much better than Marshall, but because he had moved into the starting rotation. I just didn't vote for him as a reliever. So that's like, I like that you can kind of go either way with it, because my guy Matthew, I loved watching him pitch at Wofford. So I'm very excited about him being an all-star. I did not consider him a reliever because he has been in the rotation the last couple weekends.
Yeah, so how are we feeling about the Atlantic staff?
The starting staff is unreal. The bullpen, I think, is good. I still am a little salty that, got some guys that got snubbed. No, I'm just kidding. I think it's a very good staff. I mean,
I'm a little salty someone got snubbed.
Is it Highfield that you're salty about?
No, not Highfield. I'm a little salty that Will Ray got snubbed.
You love Will Ray. I'm just kidding.
I mean, the guy has been nails with a struggling bullpen. I mean, he had one bad outing against Carolina, but he has been like nails all year. I'm kind of shocked that he was not on.
Monty, who would you make your closer in this situation? Because you got 2 really good closers. Do you go Biven or do you go Oxford?
I think I'd go Oxford. It's tough. I think you're in a good spot either way. I will say Will Ray was right on the cusp of making this team. So
we don't have any bench relievers, correct, Monty? Like, this is it for the pitching staff, correct?
Yeah.
Right.
Monty, I voted for Jacob and Will. Who was my other guy? Did I vote for Brennan?
Take a look. Individual. Yep. Let me look. Next time, I'm gonna have to make sure when we do this that they send you the email of who you voted for.
Yeah, I should have written it down earlier.
Oh, it's okay, but I also could have set up the thing to automatically send you what you said. You voted Duden. You went Gordon, Duden, and Ray.
Oh, I did. Okay, gotcha.
Which, yeah, that's not a terrible pick there for Austin Gordon. Evan Webster felt like kind of the biggest kind of snub on the starters for me. I think I would have. I mean, I already said that I voted for him and Micah voted for him, so it's tough. Mark agrees. Oxford for closer, so I think we might need to go Biven. But yeah, when Cam Leiter is your 4 starter, the way he's been pitching this year, that's pretty baller.
I have the balls to say that Aiden Kanak or Knack will be my midweek guy in this situation.
Yeah, might be. Yeah, that's a nasty team.
It really is.
All right, Coastal starting pitchers. This one was unanimous as well. Who do you think it is?
Yeah, I mean, come on, it's Kevin Jackson. I'm just kidding.
Just Kevin. That's awkward.
He
It is
recently added to
Jonathan.
the starting rotation. No, unanimous and Tucci. Okay, yeah, you put it on there.
Yeah. We're in trouble, guys. It wasn't Gage Zeal.
Gage Zeal kind of struggled early though. Like
He
he's been
did.
really good of late.
I really consider him because he's turned it up a lot lately.
Guess what? It's fine.
He's in it. Okay.
He made
I
the
don't hate
team.
it.
It's fine.
I don't hate it.
I did vote for him. I did vote for him. So
yeah,
just making sure that's very clear.
He got 5 votes.
I also feel bad for Gage because I feel like he's kind of been. I don't want to be inappropriate. We'll keep it PG. He hasn't gotten a lot of help from his teammates when he has pitched. He was a walk-off home run away from going a complete game, 1 earned run or 2 earned runs, whatever it was, and losing against Clemson. Last week, he goes and pitches well, and they do not get the job done against Duke. Tonight, he was getting out of an inning and ended up getting an error that basically blew the inning open for Florida State. He would have gotten out of it no problem. He's going to be in line for the loss now. So I do feel bad for Gage because he has been better than what it shows. And Canes Cat's not. I don't know if I say he's been the best pitcher in AC competition, but he's definitely been top 3. He's been really, really good.
He in ACC play, and it's not taken into account tonight. I believe he's 1-1 with a 3.95 ERA. 2 complete games. I think. Yeah. Yep, 27.1 innings, 34 strikeouts to 9 walks. Hitters are hitting 225. I mean, he's still not Jamie Arnold or Chase Burns, but he's putting up some great numbers. So we love that. Yeah. So moving along, Gage Zeal made the team. Everyone calm down.
Can I go 3 for 3? Can I go 3 for 3? Monty, show me my 3 for 3. Let's go. Give it to me.
It is Aiden Vinatieri of Georgia Tech. Who would have thought that Georgia Tech would have a starting pitching all-star? Isn't that crazy? Aiden Vinatieri, he makes the team. And then our final selection, surprisingly, it's a freshman here. It's not Folger Boaz. It's not Jason DeCaro. It's Brett Renfro from Virginia Tech.
That's a great pick.
The number 4 guy.
That's a great pick.
So there we go.
I keep asking you this, Monty, but can you tell me my number 3 guy?
Yeah, absolutely.
I had Santucci and Renfro, I believe.
And you didn't Gage Zeal?
You had Santucci, Renfro, and Evan Blanco.
Wow. Never mind. Don't go after him. Nick's a great guy, wonderful human being. He understands that. He gets it.
I did. I remember now. Thank you.
Oh, see, we can't win. Apparently, most of my.
Oh, Rafe, come on now, dude.
Rafe has had a good year. It's just not up to the level of some of these other guys.
I really debated between both Miami guys.
I will say, if Miami would have 2 of our 4 starters, I feel like they have to be above 500 in ACC play.
I do think I voted for Santucci, Zeal, and Schleisinger, but I'm happy with Vinatieri and Renfro.
I'm really happy Renfro's
I can't believe you got 2 Miami guys. I mean, I guess I don't really think about their rotation as the best in the Coastal, but if you feel like those 2 are, then I mean, there's an argument because Duke has obviously not really had a consistent rotation with injuries and stuff that it makes them the best rotation. Actually, Monty, quickly, who is the best rotation in the Coastal? Is it Miami?
I mean, it might. I think so. The way they've been.
I never sat and thought about it.
I mean, I think there are several rotations in the Atlantic that are better, and I think that's why. And I think that's why you probably don't realize that they're. And then Duke's pitching staff as a whole is so good that it's you go. Oh, I guess if you're only taking rotation, so I think that probably plays a factor. But getting right into the relievers, my guy is the top reliever vote getter. out of any of the relievers, both Coastal or Atlantic. He got 7 votes, and that is Ground Chuck Bielenson.
Let's go.
He does not play for Florida State, folks.
Not play for Florida State.
He does not play for Florida State. I'm glad I have the picture there, so it shows he clearly plays for Duke.
I don't know. That kind of looks like Florida State's blue jerseys that they wear sometimes.
He's an absolute stud. I'm glad I mean, it's not just that he's a stud, but they just keep throwing him out there. And I mean, he went and pitched, I think, multiple innings in 2 of the 3 games against Miami this past weekend, if not all 3. I can't remember, but he's outstanding. And then the next highest reliever, also in the Coastal, it is Dalton Pence from North Carolina. Having himself a great year. Love to see it. Yeah, he's pretty good.
And seen a reliever I voted for, Monty. I'm getting a little nervous.
Well, the conference's wins leader.
You didn't go for Charlie, Micah?
I did not.
Wow.
Wow. Well, I think the nation's wins leader is next, and that's another North Carolina Tar Heel in Matthew Mathis here. He received 3 votes. So next guy, great guy. I think he's got 11 wins on the year. He had some opportunities to add some against UVA, couldn't get it done, but having a fantastic year. North Carolina bullpen a lot better than I thought they would be. I thought they'd be pretty good, but they're even better than I thought. And it's not necessarily the freshman bullpen arms that I thought would be it. It's the trio of, actually it's really 4 guys. Percival, Mathis, Pence, and Poston. So 2 of those guys make the All-Star team. Moving along, we've got our only representative from the University of Pittsburgh, a.k.a. Grittsburg. It's Phil Fox.
Let's go. Glad he made it.
I think there was an argument to be made for his teammate Ethan Fairved, who I don't know necessarily ERA numbers, but he pitches a lot of innings. He's a really good pitcher, but Phil Fox has been lights out for them all season. He gets enough votes to be an all-star. He's Pittsburgh's lone guy. And then finally, a surprising guy who struggled a bit recently. He got lit up in Miami, hasn't quite been the same since, but his brother is the reigning ACC Player of the Year. It is Aiden Teal of Virginia. He is your last closer to make the all-star team. He had enough votes. So he gets it done. How are we feeling about this staff? You think the bullpen's better and the starter's not as good versus the Atlantic?
I think that we got the wrong Virginia guy in the relief. I like Angelo Tonis better personally, Monty. I don't know what your opinion on that is. You watch this team a lot, but I like Tonis a lot more. No, that's not a shot at Teal because I think he's going to be really, really good down the stretch. But as he grows up, but he has struggled a lot recently. As a Virginia fan, when he enters the game, I'm a lot more nervous when he comes in than I am when Angelo Tonis comes in the game.
Yeah, I will say Angelo Tonis, I would give him a shout out. I would give Nick Robert a shout out, Gabriel Nard a shout out. There are some really good relievers in the Coastal bullpen that I liked. I was surprised about Aiden Teal. I don't think I voted for him. I'm pretty sure I voted for the top 3 guys there in Bielenson, Pence, and Mathis, but ultimately 2 people voted for 2 of them. So
did we have Monty? Every team was represented, right? Like I know you said not including the bench, but was it even without the bench? Was every team represented?
No, Estevan Moreno made the bench. So here is our all-star selections by team. North Carolina led the way with 6. Florida State with 5, Duke with 5, Clemson with 5, and it kind of works out in a way that I think is appropriate for the success the teams have had. North Carolina, Florida State, Duke, Clemson, Virginia, all those are top 15 teams. NC State and Virginia Tech, both really good. Wake Forest has been really good. Wake Forest, I think, is better than the 3 guys they got. Obviously, Tellier and Houston are kind of, with Tellier, he just ran into a position group that had a ton of guys. Merrick Houston has a legitimate argument that he's a big snub. And And then, of course, Josh Hartle has struggled. That's a guy that you would expect. Massey has been hurt and hasn't accumulated enough innings. So there's a lot. Seaver King was on the cusp of making the team.
That's what I was going to bring up for DH, is that you could have easily – so I guess I should have thought about it, asking if you could put Seaver King at DH.
So I didn't want to point that out because I just wanted to get some of the real full-time DHs, but I would have allowed it if you had thought of it on your own. I just didn't want to encourage that.
3 different positions. I mean, yeah, crazy.
Yep. So, and then Boston College got 3 in. I know they're going to be disappointed they didn't get Samini and Wang and Wolf in, but I mean, those guys are all having all-star caliber seasons. I can understand why they'd be irritated that we didn't get them in. Obviously, Canes Cats Heat has legitimate concerns about some guys that may have gotten snubbed there. But I think this is a pretty fair roster that we came up with, a pretty exciting all-star festivities.
Could you tell me my 3 relief pitchers
for
Coastal? I think I had Charlie, Matthew, and I can't remember
Bielenson, Talon, and Teal.
Oh, I did not vote for Matthew. Gotcha.
Yeah, so fantastic exercise. We'll work on some graphics. I'm probably going to do a graphic real quick just to release the rosters, but then we can work on some, what our lineups would be, because I think that would be a fun little exercise for us. I hope the people who tuned in really enjoyed this. We got to let Micah get packed because he's headed to Kentucky to watch Louisville and Virginia. Nick's got to, get ready for an exciting weekend of Winston-Salem dash baseball. So we'll have some graphics. We'll throw this out there, but congratulations to all the all-stars in our theoretical game. Micah, you are free to share your votes as you see fit. Both you guys are. And any final thoughts on this before we call it a night?
In our picks, Monty, I said stick with the Virginia Tech Hokies. Georgia Tech fans, I just want you to know that I'm losing sleep not picking you guys. So when you win, all I ask is you please do not mention to me how I was wrong, because I will cry.
Anyways. Canes Cats Heat. I'm the only one, I think, that picked Miami this weekend because you guys are weird. And so I don't know how you're going to do, but please don't disappoint me, because I have a really good record and I had to be different than everybody else. So please win, Miami. This was a lot of fun, Monty. I got to give a lot of credit to you for coming up with this idea, because once you get this tweeted out, once people see it, I think the players are really going to like seeing this kind of stuff. I really wish that there was a week break in the season to have an all-star game. That would just be so much fun. I would be
Monty, I can't wait for Tucker Biven to get a save against Virginia tomorrow night, and he's going to look behind home plate and point right at me and say, "That's what you get for not having your crew say that I would be the closer."
That's what you get for saying Oxford over me. Yeah. It's going to be a lot of fun.
You did a good job, Monty. This I think is going to go crazy, fun, viral. I think all the players from all the ACC are going to see this, and they're going to think that this was a lot of fun. I really do wish that somehow, some way, there needs to be a real all-star game.
Right. The home run derby.
So much fun.
A home run derby would be awesome.
Derby, that would be crazy.
Yeah, they need to figure out a way to do that, and doing it in the middle of the season would be so cool too. Just kind of like MLB, as opposed to the end of the season. It's going to be interesting to see how many of these guys make the all-conference teams if they continue to have great seasons. But yeah, I'm glad you guys had fun with it. We'll definitely be doing it next year. But this has been great, and we'll catch you guys on Monday for our Monday or Tuesday or for our normal show. And enjoy the baseball this weekend.